So when you first start, the engine monitor will prompt you a question whether you refuel. But then if you let it do that for a while, it'll skip forward to its default view, which is here. Then you have to go into a program mode. So if you hold the step and lean find buttons together for about 3 seconds, it'll enter this program mode. And the program mode, the first thing it asks you is, do you want to refuel? And you'll say yes. And then you get some default selections. So I filled it to the tabs, which is 65 gallons, so we'll put 65. You can also add and subtract. If you do that again, hold both. Refuel, yes, and then you can add, subtract. And so here I can add, if I hold it for a minute, it'll count faster. And if I hold it, subtract, it subtracts. So it's actually a shade over. So let's just tell it I had a gallon over the tabs. We'll save that. Great. The takt time is right here on the bottom, but for some reason they didn't put the Hobbs time. So to get the Hobbs time, you got to hold the 2 inner buttons here. First exit. Hold the lean find and the dim button, and it gives you the Hobbs and the takt times. So when I run the power up to 1800 to do the mag check, just kind of slowly advance that, get it up to 1800. Then I want to watch the EGTs, because when I turn off each mag, the EGTs should rise, all of them. And when I turn the mag back on, they should fall. So this has a normalized mode. If I press lean find and hold it, see how it evens them all out like that. So now I can see when I turn off one mag, all the EGTs rise. And then they fall when I turn it back on. And so then I can hold lean find again, turn it back to normal mode. Then I'm going to check all of the other engine gauges. So oil temperature is coming up into the green, oil pressure is green, fuel flow seems normal for this RPM. Volts are right around 28, so the alternator's working, and amps are charging, so it's charging the battery. Got my fuel set. I want to cycle the prop. So I'll set it to 1800. I'll look for the RPMs to drop. RPMs drop. And I'll do it one more time, look for the manifold pressure to rise. Manifold pressure rises. One more time and watch the oil pressure. It should drop. And it drops a couple of PSI. All right, cool, then I'll check idle. Yep, idle's fine. 900 RPM's good. Runs smoothly. Doesn't die. We'll lean again. Okay, so you see as I climb here on a hot day, even climbing at 100 knots, I get a 390 warning. So this is a pre-alarm, but it means that the CHTs are rising. You kind of see them here in green, the CHTs, and in blue, the EGTs. So the CHTs is telling me, hey, getting a little warm. So I'm actually going to put the nose down even a little more and just speed up a little bit, slow my climb for the last few hundred feet. And that'll happen on a hot day, especially if you're doing a max power climb. We're kind of doing a reduced power climb here. But we'll just keep an eye on it. I can see it's 392 now. Cowl flaps are open. I'm just going to get a little more air flowing through the engine there by putting the nose down. I'm going to climb at 105 for a minute. Still climbing at 500 feet per minute. All right, so here comes 3,500. So we'll just ease the nose down to our cruise attitude. Check our cruise power. We'll cruise at 23 and right around 24. So then to lean the mixture, I'm going to use the lean find function. I'll just press lean find once, don't long press it, and it'll say lean a peak. This airplane has tuned cylinders, or tuned injectors, so the fuel flow is metered very carefully into each cylinder, and that allows you to run it at peak or lean a peak. I usually run at peak. So I'm going to just start leaning. And it's going to give me some information about which cylinder has the highest EGT, and as I lean. But okay, so there it says that cylinder's the leanest, and now it's telling me I'm 13 degrees lean a peak. I'm going to enrich it a little bit, and that number should go up. Now it's 4.2. I'm basically right at peak, and I'm burning 12.2 gallons an hour. And right now I'm going 140 true. And I'm going to close the cowl flaps. hit exit. And now I'm leaned for cruise. We'll need to watch the CHTs and cruise though, because usually with a fairly high power setting and leaned to peak EGT, the CHTs will rise and you'll start getting that 390-degree warning again, and probably have to partially open the cowl flaps. That's in cruise. I normally have to have the cowl flaps cracked open, or maybe up to halfway open, depending on my power setting. And I usually cruise at 23 and 2350 or something like that, leaned to peak EGT. Of course, you can lean to rich of peak EGT and get a little bit more power. You burn significantly more fuel though, so for just a few extra knots of airspeed. So now I'm going about 134 knots true. And if I climb a little higher, I'll get a little higher true airspeed. If I cruise at about 7,500 or so, I'll get usually 138, 140 true, burning 12-ish, 11 to 12 gallons an hour. But so you see, now you can see the CHT. So if you hit step, you can actually step through each of the data points you get here. So here's the EGTs, and see that EGT is that CHT is 407. One of my others is rising. It's giving me a little alarm. So I'm just going to crack cowl flaps so we don't overheat the engine. And I'm going to watch here and make sure that those CHTs go down. 403, 391, yes, they're all going down. So we'll leave the cowl flaps like that without half open.